Man, we made her. I'm just about to Joe's again. I tell you, it's been a wild whirlwind. One, I'm very excited, anxious, whatever you want to call it, because today is going to be startup day. Quite a few things we got to get done this morning. I'm really excited about being down here to be able to get some hands-on. As I mentioned in the past, Joe has just been hammering on this project on his own. I've been crazy busy trucking. He's ran a load of cattle to Boise and back, got home late last night, hung out with the fam there a little bit, got up at 5:30 this morning, made the 2.5-hour drive down here to Joe's. We got to do a handful of things. We'll let Joe talk about that when we get there. I'm going to address here shortly speed of air, why I didn't use speed of air. Why is that? Why would you not use speed of air pistons? They're quite an up and coming thing, it appears. Also going to address the messages and people that have mentioned to me that they worry about me being in trouble for doing this project. I'm going to speak to that. There's an actual thing I'm going to teach you about here that's going to help open your eyes and make you realize, oh, and when you hear it, you will go, oh. Russell,
what's up? I had a nice little surprise this morning. Pressurized my cooling system. Were you going through a little coolant?
Not that I know of.
Radiator's leaking.
Really?
Yeah.
What the heck? Of all the things to leak the radiator? No, I never added any coolant. Go figure. Yeah. Well, that's going to change our plans a little bit. Well, one, we've got word out for a radiator. We'll see what they got here in town. Two, we'll still fire it up. We're not going to like run it, but we'll make sure it fires and works, starts and stops, so to speak. And then we don't have a runaway like we did with the Coconato. Under the advisement of Master Joseph, since we're going to have to take this radiator out, charge air cooler off, all that, we're going to test all the rest of that. Test the charge air cooler, make sure it's good to go. And if we need a new one of those, we'll make it new. Now I'm kicking myself because I'm always this preventative, prevent, replace it. If it reaches its duty cycle, I'm going to add 600,000 miles to my radiator cycle of life. Made 600,000? Let's yard that thing out and put a new one in.
Probably isn't going to slide off from here.
So if you've never tested a charge air cooler before, what this is what is essentially giving you a cold air. Is that fair to say, Jojo? A quote unquote cold air intake, so to speak.
So when you compress air, it increases the temperature, right?
Right.
So you're just trying to bring that temperature down as much as you can to increase the air density.
Make it a little thicker.
Yeah.
So these, if they have a leak, this is pressured. Your turbo over there pressurizes this thing. So this thing needs to be airtight. Otherwise, you're essentially losing boost pressure for your intake out of this cooler, which appears like a radiator, but it's full of air instead of coolant, see? So you put a plug on this end. I like how you have these little safety tethers in case it really gets wild. Joe was telling me these new boots he put on are good for 50 PSI. Are you going to be boosting more than 50 PSI? I said, yeah, not unless we twin turbo this thing or something. So same thing on this side. See, he's got this nice safety tether. Safety always first. Safety tether and safety glasses. Yeah. Look at this guy. So you hook the air up.
Is that valve open over there?
Oh, yeah, I'll get it. All right, she's airtight, Jojo.
There's some creaking.
There's some creaking.
Something's leaking somewhere. It's around the plant.
Yeah.
Weird.
You know what? This reservoir's leaking, and why not? Anything, you know what? Just let's do it. Let's just leak. So, had a little scare there.
Started slipping just a little bit.
Joe just told me a story about coolant. He was testing coolant one time and did the same thing, but couldn't get it depressurized quick enough. So you always want to carry a spare one of these. It's called a charge air boot, because sometimes these will get a tear in them, or a clamp will fail and it'll blow off or whatever. Once those are off, this engine just turns into a turd with no air, no forced air intake. They just go burp, 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 and barely pull itself down the road. Okay, so as promised, you guys, I want to share with you for a minute before we got to dig back into this thing, the answer to some of these questions that I mentioned. I get a lot of comments about the speed of air. Why did you not? The speed of air thing sounds so cool. If you're not familiar with speed of air, basically speed of air is an outfit that's taking pistons and they're machining dimples on the surface of a piston to make it look like a golf ball, essentially. And those little cavitations in the piston head create some swirl as the combustion's happening and the air flow and things are moving. It just creates more turbulence inside of there, and they're seeing that this is creating a more efficient burn, is boosting fuel mileage, really making a difference in diesel pickups. Of course, so the next thing that people wonder is this a technology that would explode the trucking world, right? And really blow up our fuel mileage. I have nothing against speed of air whatsoever. This is not me saying I think it's a sham at all, okay? So don't get that impression. They've posted just a little bit of data on social media. As far as the trucking world goes, I think there's a lot more pickup information, but as far as the trucking world goes, it's really few and far between. They had a post on Instagram where a fellow, I think it was from Wisconsin, maybe Illinois, that area, had posted his fuel reports prior to overhauling his engine with speed of air pistons. He had an ISX Cummins, and he was in the fives. He was in the mid fives, over several thousand miles. I can't remember. I want to say it was 20,000 miles, something like that. If you actually dug into the report and read the fine print, not just the caption, you'd see that this guy was running his truck back east, West Virginia, and a lot of that stuff out west. Even I think he had some Montana stuff in there, which, is this. And then some Midwest, some flat ground. And his average was in that mid-5 range, which, to be honest with you, is really poor. Either driving habits are poor or his engine, something's wrong. To be getting 5.5 pulling a reefer is not very good. So he overhauls his engine, speed of air, goes back out, and he posts his next fuel report. In this next report, it was very limited miles. His mileage was up, and I can't remember what it was, but it was substantially higher. But I again zoomed in, screenshotted, zoomed in to read his actual report to see what our, when we're comparing these before and afters, what are we comparing? And it was only about 5,000 miles. It was all primarily Wisconsin, Illinois miles, which if you've run that Chicago up into Milwaukee, that swoop, not a hill to be found, really, right? So his mileage was up, yes, but the control factors just weren't there. So I couldn't really gain anything from that. The other thing that I had was a lot of you mentioned that Tim Gentry, who's a big YouTube guy with Detroits and such, he loves Detroits, had kind of posted some stuff, and I didn't ever get to see or find or look into what his actual numbers were and what they were hauling, but someone had messaged me and said he was getting 6 something miles per gallon. I want to say it was 6.3, 6.5 with speed of air pistons in his Detroit hauling cows. Now he's back east where it's 80,000 pound state, so most of those loads of cattle that he's pulling are probably 80. They're probably pushing their weights a little bit, 80 to 82,000 pounds, 83,000 pound loads, and getting 6.5. So when I see that or I hear those comments from people, well, I compare that to my experience with, a tuned engine with some performance parts, like remember the Coconato? That thing was a performance engine, just Detroit overhaul parts, but a performance engine. Guys, with that truck, I was pulling 100,000 pounds gross out here, and I was getting 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, which is the whole reason that I thought, I bet I can get a Peterbilt. If I can get this in a Coronado, I bet I can do that in a Peterbilt, or perhaps even a little bit better if I tweak a few things. So to boil this all down, maybe speed of air pistons are helping people that really like to put their foot in it and hammer down. Maybe it's helping them achieve better fuel standards. Someone like me that really drives like I have an egg under the accelerator pedal all the time, I don't know, I'm already getting those, like I was getting, 5.8 to 6.1 with the X15 in this Peterbilt, hauling 100,000 pound loads of cattle. So to hear that, so-and-so's put these pistons in, and he's killing it, those numbers weren't that impressive to me. Me, with my driving habits and what I'm already achieving, I just need to see more. They do cost a premium. This is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and I'll share that when we wrap this whole series up, just what we're into this truck in the end. But when you're wrapping that much of your own money into something, I don't really want to be the guinea pig. I don't want to be the guy that said, yeah, let's throw them in and let's just see what happens. Maybe it'll get better, maybe it won't. I know what I can get with what I've been doing. And I like those numbers, and I want to build on those numbers. If I could see a product that, had some dyno testing, some really controlled testing, I probably would have been more open to it, and maybe we'll be open to it in the future with another project at some point. But that's why, in a nutshell, in a 5-minute explanation, why for this project I chose not to use speed of air pistons. Okay, the other thing, you guys, that I get a lot of comments about, and some message, even some emails, and this is out of concern, and I appreciate that, people are concerned and wanting the best for me. The concern is that what I'm doing is illegal. You're getting rid of, an emissions engine, and you're putting in an old engine. This is not allowed, this is bad. The EPA's been hammering on these folks that have been doing deletes and any stuff that is designed to get around modern technologies. Just don't go there, we don't want to see you get in trouble. Taking this engine out of a 2020 Peterbilt and putting in a Detroit from 1995 is 100% above board, square, and legal. Here's why. Let me start this by saying what's not legal, okay? It is not legal to defeat emission standards, to work runarounds, to alter, to change emissions. This has always been the case, you guys, from forever. I mean, if you did something back in, 2000 to defeat some kind of emission standards on whatever those emission standards were in the year 2000, that was illegal, okay? That is illegal. Emissions are tied to this, okay? Emissions are not tied to that truck over there. They're tied to this. So if I delete this engine, remove all the emissions devices off it, remove the DEF. If I'm able to reprogram my computer to simply shut the DEF system off, that's illegal. In removing this engine, we've done nothing that's illegal. This is completely intact. The cooker hot box, I call it the hot box, the DEF tank, the everything. We have it all, okay? We haven't altered anything with it. You can put it all back together and send this thing down the road. This Detroit, it's completely 100% compliant with the emissions laws and rules that apply to that engine in that era. Let me give you an example of something that a lot of people have done that they probably didn't realize was the same as deleting a modern engine. The Caterpillar motors, right? The C15s, they were a twin turbo, which when taken care of were actually a pretty good engine. And a lot of people nowadays like to do a single turbo conversion. They'll take the twins, put a single on, reprogram it, and have a great single turbo cat motor. That's completely illegal, because you're altering. The whole reason they went to twin turbos was to achieve emission standards. So by going 2-to-1, you're no longer compliant with the emission standards of when did the C15 roll out? It was in the early 2000s. So I don't think anybody realizes that, but if you're actually talking about the letter of the law, that's what it is. That's the answer to this, you guys. We are not altering anything. We are putting an engine in that is 100% compliant to the emission standards of that age. There are no rules, there are no federal rules, no EPA rules that say when an old engine goes into a new truck, you have to go above and beyond the emission standards for that engine. California did mandate a rule like that, but that's a state rule for California where, hey, you want to, and it's not even allowed anymore, but for a while they were saying, you know, you can run an old engine, but you got to retrofit a box on it to make it burn cleaner. They've since scrapped that completely, and now you just got to have newer trucks. This is completely above board. This is all good to go. 2 thumbs up, rock and roll. With that out of the way, I think we're gonna get some fluids in here. Not all of our fluids, but Joe's working on getting a good deal on a radiator replacement. We're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna replace the surge tank on top while we're at it. Let's get some power steering fluid in. Let's get some oil in this baby, and we'll be about ready to crank. I know a guy, his name is Big Joe. Is Joe a slow Joe? No, Joe ain't slow. He's real quick on the gun. Wow, this is a slow beat. I gotta speed it up. Let's see. Tick, 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 tick. I got a mechanic, his name is Joe. That's too fast, man. the beat is just in between. Aye, aye, aye. Remember that movie?
I haven't seen that one in years.
I got a new one coming, guys. I'm working to see. If you got an engine and it's driving real slow, give this guy a call. His name is Joe. That was pretty good. See what else we got. Your engine is in trouble. What do? You call this guy here. He'll fix it for you. Diesel. Oil. Nah, I lost it. I don't know. If I try to pre-think it, it just goes. You gotta just do it right off the cuff. Got a lot of blow-by? Call Joe. He'll fix you up.
I think you got the right.
Joe's pretty confident we got the right dipstick this time. Last time we had a little, what was the deal last time, Joe?
The dipstick was too short. And the guy in Detroit was claiming it was the correct dipstick. And we just need to keep putting more oil in it.
Just keep piling her in there, boys. John Wayne's teeth, hey-ya. John Wayne's teeth, hey-ya. John Wayne's teeth. Are they real? Are they plastic or are they steel? Have you seen that movie?
No.
It's called Smoke Signals.
He sent this little light. So if the light comes on, you don't have fuel pressure. Let's go.
I guess that'll start dripping, huh? All right, so we ran it for a minute, went back, double checked our install instructions. They want us to fill this water separator with diesel up to the nut plate, the quote unquote nut plate. Then we'll crack this again and should be priming up. So this is your factory fuel pump right there. This sweet little boy. Air Dog gives you this little booster baby. I think you went over the nut plate, Joe.
A little bit.
Oh, there's some bubbles coming. Change of tone.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Remind me about this, Jizzle. This is just so you can...
So I can crank it
Crank it.
with the key off. The key's on right now, so we're running the pump. So I'm gonna turn the key off and crank it with the button so we can get the oil going through.
Get some oil up through everything. One of two things is going to happen when we push the button. It's going to crank. No, it's going to
I
crank. Don't worry.
envision the Wile E. Coyote.
Right. Oh!
You got a leak.
Oh. This happens. There are two oil access little holes there to run something that need plugs. Here's the engine pre-overhaul. They must have had something tied in there. So who knows, if you're out there and you know what them are used for, hit me up. Turn it off! Turn it off! Still having flashbacks to Rob doing this last time. Shut it off! All right, you ready?
Yep.
Filter's a little loose. Got a new problem, you guys. The def tank is flashing red. Oh no. We're out of def, Joe.
Yeah.
We're out of def. We're gonna remove that and we're gonna replace it with this little guy. That is a pyrometer. It'll just go right there.
Just need to get some fuel up
She's
there.
ready to go, I guess, huh? Well,
Runs?
it runs. Guys, there's no coolant, so we can't do a lot, but we got her primed up, fuel's in the system, and she cracked off. You hear it kind of a little farting and this and that as it works some air and some things through, but yeah. Jojo!
Good.
Feels great, man. It sounds smooth.
Sounds good, yeah.
Sounds real smooth.
You know, with that straight pipe.
I know. Everyone on here is gonna want to keep it. Hey, this is good. This is good. Man, I you wish there was that dang radiator hadn't spoiled our fun today. Had the radiator not spoiled our fun, we'd be giving her some juice, cleaning it up, clearing it up, getting all that fuel good and pretty through there. The upside is it's gonna leave us some great content for the next time we're able to get together, which will be getting it out on the highway and putting a load to it. So a couple little lessons for y'all that you can take, a little nugget. Parts costs are, has it always been this way, or are we learning that it's more so? Is it getting to be this way more and more now with the massive disparity between parts prices? Is it? I mean, has it been like that your whole career where it's like, oh yeah, there's $1,000 difference in price for the same radiator? Has that always been?
Yeah,
it has.
So when I first started, I worked at a dealer that was Volvo, GMC, Isuzu, whole bunch of them. Mm-hmm. And I remember this customer got irate, and I can't believe the parts department even let this slide. I needed hubcaps, 2 hubcaps for the front. Well, they had a Stemco hubcap that was like what, $8?
Yeah.
Right. And then they had the same hubcap, Stemco hubcap, in a GM box, $95.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.
And they didn't. Because I needed 2 and we only had one Stemco one in stock, they charged them 2 different prices for the same hubcap.
Ooh, and put it on the invoice.
Put it on the invoice, and he lost it. And I said, why wouldn't you just charge him for 2 Stemcos and then
replace the stem?
Replace the GM one, or why would you even stock that GM one?
Right.
It's always been like that. Ridiculous.
Huh. So we were looking, so we need a new radiator for this, and our kind of first throw the hook out into the ocean, so to speak, cast your line, put a worm out there, and the first thing we get back is $1,800. Then we cast another line, $1,700. And then we open the old web browser.
Yep.
What do we get it down to, 800?
800 locally. We could have ordered it online for cheaper, but
still found a place locally that we can get it from.
Yeah.
For 800. Had to just look around, and I don't know, you were doing some pretty fancy footwork with your part numbers.
But I've had to do that my whole career. A lot of them just don't want to put in the effort, and the first thing they find is it is what it is. $1,000 difference.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's
really
huge.
Big. I mean, that's a lot of money. So next thing that we ran into, we wanted to put a new surge tank on because that one's getting kind of decrowed and yellowed, like my teeth. Called down just the good old PACCAR surge tank price.
That was 600 or 800, right?
Yeah.
600? 600.
Because you asked me and I teased, is it more than the radiator?
Yeah.
And you said almost.
Yeah, almost.
So we found a radiator for 800. They wanted 650 or whatever for the surge tank. Do you think that Mr. Joseph let that fly? No. So he just made a few clickety clacks, and we got a Dorman aftermarket surge tank coming for
160,
170 something, yeah. And it'll be here Monday, Tuesday.
And Dorman's good quality stuff.
Are they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I use a lot of Dorman stuff.
Learn a lesson from old Josel. We should probably like put on a webinar for people. Hey, tell you what, $250. Joe will do an afternoon webinar on how to find the most affordable parts. You probably get people sign up left and right. I would. Anyway, we're off. We're gonna go. We're gonna go get the radiator. Gonna go grab a bite, and we got to get a engine plug, right?
You gotta get a plug and a bung for the pyrometer.
Bung. That bung. That word is just never quite. Bung. Bung. Bung will go. You want it closer the better to the turbo, right? To get the most accurate.
Yeah. Yep.
You got to stick it in here somewhere.
Somewhere right there. Yeah.
Not like down here.
No.
That's gonna go there.
If you want it really accurate, you put it.
You know,
up in the manifold.
I've heard of like guys that are way into performance. They'll put two on. They'll run two pyrometers, one before, one after.
Yeah.
But man, liking this PDI stuff. Oh, I love it. The turbo's still just a little bit warm, just from that brief little run. Oh, here's a bit of good news. Joe saved $1,000 on the radiator. Also, I think we're gonna. This probably would have been $1,000, wouldn't it, for this ish? Is it not that much?
600-800.
600-800. Okay. We thought we were gonna have to extend this. Once it was all in, Joel's got that transmission stuck up in there. That old beauty. It's 3/4 of an inch short is all. So we're just gonna extend it 3/4 of an inch, just in the slip yoke, and roll with it and see what it does. That step is gonna come up to here. We're gonna get mounted here. Driveline's got to go in. There's a little bit of computer programming Joe's gonna do. Some parameter.
change.
Yeah, not programming, but just some parameter switches.
Yep.
To let it know that it's running old school now. It doesn't need to worry about emission stuff to keep track of anymore, because that is all back there. I got a muffler for you. Don't let me forget to leave it.
Yep.
A little shorty. We're just gonna put a little shorty in there. We have an exhaust brake coming.
Yep.
Had a handful of people say, don't mess with them, don't screw with it, but I really want to know.
Just try.
Just try it. I mean, it's a $1,500 roll of the dice. I'll talk about it when we get it on and going and using, but it's got to be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be helpful.
I got to do a little repair work on this rear tranny mount. These bolts were eating into there pretty good. Should have had washers on them.
Huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, I might have you pick up a hydronic heater. Are those horrible to install?
Not
Is
horrible.
this something I could do on my own later?
Yeah. You got to
Curious
mount
what
it
they
and
have.
see what it looks like, you know? You want
Yeah,
it to look clean.
I think that's why I should probably just let you do it. Just like, Joe, just do it. You do it. Just go do it. Okay, well, lunch is in the belly. Radiator's on tap. I got to get going. We got a basketball game. Freddie's got a game tonight. Got a couple-hour drive. But I feel bad. Oh, look at this. Yep. There it is, all that cooling capacity. It's funny when you see them like this, you're like, that's it? That's a modern radiator?
That's what's in that huge framework.
It's 2 thumbs wide. That's it. But you guys, that's it. We got fire in the hole. It's not exactly what we were shooting for, as full bore, rip and roar. We weren't going to get to drive it today anyway.
No.
Because we got some more buttoning up to do. Again, by we, I mean he. I really do feel bad that I haven't been able to be a little more. I wanted to just
Want to be here
be here more. I've always, I'm drawn to it. But got to make the money to pay for it.
Yep.
So there we are, you guys. We'll be right back in no time with the next video, taking this baby out.